Lieutenant Sarah stood at the entrance of the training facility, her uniform crisp and clean, reflecting her dedication. With a sharp gaze and a confident posture, she drew respect from her peers, even if it wasn't always given freely by everyone. She had spent years working hard to rise through the ranks, proving herself in various challenging situations, from strategic missions to tactical drills. Her reputation as a skilled officer preceded her, but there were some who still didn't take her seriously. As she walked down the hallway, Sarah felt both excitement and determination. Today was a big day for her team, and she knew their success rested on her shoulders. A rustle of movement caught her attention, and she spotted a group of soldiers gathered around Sergeant Thompson. His loud laughter echoed off the walls as he jokingly exclaimed, "Looks like we're all back to the kitchen with Lieutenant Sarah in charge." These kinds of comments had become all too familiar. Sarah understood that some believed women had no place in combat or leadership roles, but she was not one to back down from a challenge. She had been repeatedly told she'd be better suited for more traditional duties, but Sarah was determined to change this perception. Her thoughts shifted as she recalled the rigorous training she had endured to reach this point. Late nights studying strategy manuals and early mornings spent on the obstacle course. As she took a deep breath, Sarah reminded herself of her strength. She had earned her rank, and with that came the responsibility to lead by example. With every step, Sarah's confidence grew. She could feel the weight of her rank not just on her shoulders, but as a badge of honor. Even if Sergeant Thompson underestimated her, she was ready to show him exactly what being a leader meant. Today would be different. Today would be her chance to shine. Lieutenant Sarah's promotion had been a hard-fought victory, one that she had worked tirelessly to achieve. After countless hours of training and years of dedication, she had finally earned the rank she now wore with pride. The day of her promotion ceremony was etched in her memory. Surrounded by comrades who recognized her efforts, she was honored with a new insignia pinned onto her uniform. That day symbolized not just her personal success, but also a step forward for women in the military. However, the road to her rank was filled with obstacles. Sarah had faced skepticism from some of her peers, who believed that a woman could not handle the pressures and responsibilities of higher command. She remembered the countless nights studying leadership strategies, pushing through self-doubt as she prepared for promotion boards and evaluations. Each challenge only fueled her determination to prove that she belonged among the leaders of her unit. Her rise had not come without sacrifice. Sarah often stayed late at the gym, determined to outshine her male counterparts in physical fitness tests. She practiced drills over and over, refining her skills until they were nearly flawless. Despite the physical and mental exhaustion that occasionally threatened her resolve, she pressed on, determined to show that hard work truly pays off. Now, standing at the training facility, Lieutenant Sarah felt the weight of her new title. It represented not only her individual struggle, but also the broader fight for equality in a field that had its share of challenges. As she met the eyes of her fellow officers that day, Sarah saw both support and doubt. Each glance from Sergeant Thompson reminded her of those who still questioned her abilities. But instead of letting that negativity deter her, it ignited a fire within her. Today was an opportunity not just to lead, but to inspire. Sergeant Thompson was well known in the unit, not just for his military skills, but also for his sharp tongue. With a reputation for being brash and outspoken, he had somehow managed to maintain a decent standing among his peers, despite his frequent jabs at others. As a seasoned soldier, Thompson had earned his stripes, but he often used that status to belittle those he believed were beneath him. Despite Sarah's recent promotion to lieutenant, he viewed her with contempt. To him, she was still the same young officer who had joined the unit years ago, just a woman trying to prove herself in a man's world. He couldn't understand how someone like her could lead a team of soldiers, especially when he felt more experienced in the field. This belief fueled his mockery. "Maybe we should send Lieutenant Sarah back to the kitchen where she belongs," he would laugh with others nearby. Such comments were meant to diminish her authority and assert his own superiority. In group discussions or during training exercises, Thompson made it a point to undermine Sarah's suggestions, often rolling his eyes or making snide remarks under his breath. His behavior was irritating not just to Sarah, but also to other members of the team who recognized her talent and leadership potential. Yet they knew that confronting Thompson could lead to further friction within the ranks. While most soldiers tried their best to focus on the tasks at hand, Sarah couldn't ignore Thompson's insistent jibes. Each time he dismissed her, it served as a stark reminder of the uphill battle she faced, not just for respect from him, but also for acceptance within an environment that was still learning to embrace diversity in leadership roles. Determined not to let Thompson's antics shake her confidence, Sarah focused on proving herself through action rather than words. She knew that by demonstrating her capabilities on this crucial day, she could finally silence the doubters once and for all. The morning sun rose over the military base, casting a bright light on the bustling activity below. Soldiers moved briskly between training facilities, their boots pounding against the asphalt. The air was thick, with urgency, as preparations were underway for a significant exercise. The sounds of voices raised in commands and the clinking of gear filled the atmosphere, making it clear that this was no ordinary day. As Lieutenant Sarah walked through the courtyard, she could sense the tension among her fellow soldiers. Some were focused and ready to prove themselves in the day's drills, while others exchanged glances and whispers that hinted at uncertainty. There was an unspoken expectation on her shoulders, and Sarah felt the weight of her leadership role pressing down on her. She knew that some soldiers, especially Thompson, were eager to see her fail. In the distance, a group of soldiers were gathered around a makeshift briefing area where instructions for the upcoming exercise were being delivered. The commanding officer spoke firmly, emphasizing teamwork and discipline. Yet Sarah noticed a few members of the squad rolling their eyes or whispering amongst themselves, likely dismissing her authority even before she had the chance to prove herself during this important exercise. As she took her place at the front, Sarah held her breath for a moment, taking in both the sight of eager faces and those who seemed skeptical. She spotted Thompson leaning casually against a nearby wall, an arrogant smirk on his face. It was clear he relished this moment. The chaos of mixed feelings among the ranks only fueled his confidence. Yet Sarah felt a spark within her. Today would be a turning point. She had trained hard to prepare for this day, and amid all the tension surrounding her, she resolved to lead effectively and demonstrate just how capable she truly was. For every taunt from Thompson or whisper of doubt, there would be proof through her actions that solidified her position as a leader who earned their respect, not simply due to rank, but through merit. As the team gathered for their morning meeting, Lieutenant Sarah took her place at the head of the table, trying to exude confidence despite the tension lingering in the air. The soldiers around her shuffled with papers and equipment, some casting wary glances her way. It was no surprise that Sergeant Thompson was quick to capitalize on the moment. With a casual lean against the wall, Thompson crossed his arms and grinned. "So, "What's today's plan, Lieutenant? Maybe we can start with kitchen duty?" he quipped, eliciting snickers from a few other soldiers. The comment hung in the air like a thick fog, aimed squarely at undermining her authority and putting the team on notice that he believed she was not up to the task. Sarah felt heat rise to her cheeks, but fought to maintain her composure. "Today, we will focus on team drills and operations planning," she responded firmly, her voice steady despite the irritation bubbling inside her. She ignored the eye rolls from some of her peers and concentrated on moving forward with the agenda. As she outlined the day's objectives, Thompson couldn't resist interrupting again. "Are you sure you don't want us to practice assembling sandwiches instead? You know, just in case things get too tough out there?" His laughter echoed around the room, this time drawing more chuckles from those too easily swayed by his arrogance. Despite these jabs, Sarah remained focused. She knew she had earned respect through her hard work and capability. It was just a matter of proving it to them all. "Let's keep our focus on what matters today: strategy and execution. I expect full participation," she said decisively. As she scanned the room, Sarah noticed a few soldiers nodding along with her, instilling confidence in her leadership. Though Thompson's mocking echoed in her mind, it wouldn't overshadow her mission today. With determination sparking deep within her, she was ready to show everyone, especially Thompson, that she belonged here as a leader. Today would be a pivotal moment for not just herself, but for all who watched. As the murmurs of laughter slowly faded, Lieutenant Sarah took a deep breath and reminded herself to stay anchored in professionalism. Rather than letting Sergeant Thompson's casual mockery derail her confidence, she focused on the greater goal of leading her team effectively. She raised her chin slightly, her gaze steady as she swept across the faces in the room, gathering support from those who respected her commitment. "Thank you for your input, Sergeant Thompson," Sarah replied, maintaining a calm tone that did not betray any hint of annoyance. "However, I believe we can leave the kitchen duties for another time. Today's mission requires our complete attention and cooperation." Her words were deliberate, aimed to redirect the conversation back to their objectives while asserting her authority. The energy in the room shifted slightly as some soldiers nodded approvingly at her response. She could see those who had previously shared Thompson's skepticism now reconsidering their stance. Sarah continued by outlining the logistics of the operation planned for later that day, ensuring everyone understood their roles and responsibilities. Her voice echoed with confidence as she detailed how teamwork was crucial for success in this exercise. It was during this presentation that Sarah remembered the training sessions she had led before, the ones where she proved her skills and earned respect not just for being a lieutenant, but for being a capable leader. Each time Thompson interrupted or made a joke, she fought back against doubt with factual insights and reminders of past successes. The more she spoke about strategy and unity among the ranks, the less influence Thompson's remarks seemed to have on the group. Her calm demeanor acted like a shield against his arrogance, transforming what could have been a moment of weakness into one of empowerment. As she wrapped up the meeting, Sarah asserted once more that they would emerge from today stronger together. It was apparent to everyone. Leadership wasn't just about rank. It was about how one responded under pressure. And today, Sarah was setting an example worth following. As Sarah prepared for the day's exercises, a flashback invaded her mind. One filled with memories of a critical training mission that had solidified her reputation among her peers. It was an intense day, much like this one, when the weather had turned unexpectedly harsh during a simulated combat exercise. The conditions were tough, and morale was low as rain pounded against the soldiers. But fear was no match for Sarah's resolve. That day, Sarah had been assigned to lead a team through challenging obstacle courses and strategic maneuvers designed to test their limits. Just hours before, Sergeant Thompson had dismissed the training as unnecessary, rolling his eyes at the importance of such exercises. "What's the point? You'll just end up back in the kitchen anyway," he had said, a jab that echoed in her ears even now. But instead of crumbling under his taunts, Sarah dug deep into her training and experience. As they faced unexpected challenges, she encouraged her team, drawing from her knowledge of previous missions and strategies. Amid the pouring rain, she led them with clarity and confidence, guiding them through each obstacle and decision point. Her calm demeanor under pressure helped focus her team, transforming their reluctance into determination. After the mission concluded successfully, the commanding officer praised Sarah for her leadership and quick thinking. The soldiers who had shared Thompson's skepticism offered their respects, recognizing her abilities in ways Thompson never had. That achievement illustrated clearly not only Sarah's competence, but also highlighted the difference between respect earned through merit versus disregard based on assumptions. Now standing in front of her peers again, Sarah remembered that pivotal moment and drew strength from it. The contrast between that day and Thompson's ongoing mockery could not have been clearer. She understood that she stood not just as a leader today, but as a symbol of capability and resilience, a living reminder that true strength comes from within, despite what others may believe or say. As the training exercise began, Sarah decided to rotate the leadership roles within the team to promote collaboration. She placed Sergeant Thompson in charge of a small unit for a tactical simulation, hoping that he would recognize the importance of working together. However, his ingrained arrogance quickly resurfaced. Thompson strutted around with overconfidence, barking orders as if he were the only one capable of leading. As they moved through the course, he ignored Sarah's instructions, opting instead to demonstrate his own ideas. "Why follow her plan when I can do this better?" he proclaimed loudly to the team, who exchanged uneasy glances. As they approached a critical checkpoint in the simulation, Thompson decided to take a shortcut that Sarah had indicated was risky. "Trust me, this way is faster," he insisted. Sensing the hesitation from the other soldiers, Sarah quickly spoke up. "Sergeant Thompson, we need to stick to the plan for safety." But her words fell on deaf ears as he pressed ahead. Moments later, while navigating through the dense woods that surrounded their course, they stumbled upon an unexpected obstacle, an artificial minefield meant to simulate real combat conditions. Thompson's shortcut led them directly into it. Panic erupted among the soldiers as they scrambled to retreat, realizing they were in danger. "Get back! Find cover!" Thompson shouted frantically now as confusion broke out among his unit. In that instant, it became clear. His overconfidence had put everyone at unnecessary risk. Sarah swiftly took control of the situation, calling out clear commands and rallying her team to safety despite the chaos caused by Thompson's mistake. Once they were securely positioned away from danger, she addressed him firmly but calmly. "This isn't about one person showing off. It's about teamwork and trust." The incident served as a powerful lesson for everyone involved, including Thompson, about the importance of listening and following a unified strategy rather than allowing pride to dictate their actions. Sarah knew this was a pivotal moment. Leadership required humility and strength, qualities she hoped others would recognize from now on as they continued their drills together. As chaos erupted around them, Sarah's mind raced with the urgency of the situation. She quickly assessed her team's scattered positions, realizing that they needed a clear plan to ensure everyone's safety. With Sergeant Thompson still flustered by his mistake, Sarah stepped forward, commanding attention with her authoritative voice. "Listen up. We need to regroup and move to safety. Now!" Her quick thinking galvanized the soldiers, many of whom had been paralyzed by panic. She called for the team to gather at a designated safe point beyond the minefield, while instructing them on how to navigate cautiously through the surrounding terrain. With clarity and confidence, she directed them step by step, using their training to guide each movement. "Watch your footing. Stay low and keep your eyes peeled for any signs of danger," she shouted above the din. Her calm demeanor helped restore order in the midst of confusion, and one by one, her teammates began moving as instructed. As they reached the safe area, Sarah took a moment to count heads and ensure no one was left behind. Everyone was present. Her decisive actions had made a difference in keeping them safe from harm. Breathing a sigh of relief, she turned back towards Thompson, who now looked humbled, his earlier bravado replaced with awareness of his mistake. "You see," Sarah said firmly yet supportively, "this is why we follow a plan and work as a team." Her words carried weight, resonating with those around her who had witnessed both her leadership in action and Thompson's failure to listen. In that pivotal moment, Sarah not only saved her team from danger, but also proved herself as a capable leader. The respect she earned from her peers was evident in their appreciative nods and grateful expressions. Thompson stood quietly among them, realizing that true leadership comes not from arrogance but from collaboration and trust. As they prepared to continue the exercise, Sarah felt a renewed sense of purpose. Today wasn't just about completing drills. It was about fostering unity within her team, a lesson engraved deep in their minds as they moved forward together. As the training exercise concluded, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The soldiers gathered in a circle, buzzing with excitement and relief after the successful yet intense day. Lieutenant Sarah stood at the center, her heart swelling with pride as her team began to express their gratitude. "You really saved us back there, Lieutenant," one soldier exclaimed, clapping her on the shoulder. "Your leadership made all the difference." Others echoed similar sentiments, praising her quick thinking and calm demeanor during the chaos. "I didn't think we'd make it out of that minefield," another soldier admitted, shaking his head in disbelief. "Thanks to you, we're all okay." Each word of appreciation reinforced Sarah's belief in her abilities and further solidified her place as a respected leader among her peers. However, amidst the praise, Sarah noticed Sergeant Thompson lingering at the edge of the group, arms crossed and a frown etched on his face. While everyone else commended her for her decisive actions, he remained silent, refusing to acknowledge her accomplishments. It was as if he was clinging to his pride, unwilling to admit that he had underestimated her. Sarah turned towards Thompson, determined to bridge the gap created by his arrogance. "Thank you for your participation today, Sergeant," she said firmly but kindly. "It's crucial we all work together moving forward." Her voice cut through the tension, and for a moment it seemed like she might spark a change in him. Yet Thompson merely shrugged in response, still unwilling to accept her leadership or offer any acknowledgement of her rank. The contrast between the support Sarah received from her team and Thompson's stubbornness could not have been more apparent. Despite his lack of recognition, Sarah felt a sense of empowerment. She had proven herself not just to her team, but to herself as well. This day marked not just a successful mission, but also a turning point in how she viewed her role as a leader. With each nod and smile from her fellow soldiers, she understood that true respect was built on mutual trust and collective effort, qualities that would guide her as she continued to lead her team with confidence and grace. After the training, exercise, and the praise she received, Sarah felt a growing need to address Sergeant Thompson's behavior directly. His refusal to acknowledge her leadership had been a thorn in her side, not just for her, but for the cohesion of their unit. That afternoon, as they walked back to the barracks, she decided it was time for a conversation that had long been overdue. "Sergeant Thompson," she called out, stopping him in his tracks. He turned around, arms crossed defensively, bracing himself for what he anticipated might be another unwelcome exchange. "Can we talk for a minute?" she asked, keeping her tone firm yet composed. He shrugged, clearly uninterested, but she continued. "I appreciate your experience and skills, but I need to address something important." Thompson raised an eyebrow, skepticism written all over his face. "What's the point? We both know you don't belong here." Sarah took a deep breath, determined not to let his dismissiveness faze her. "That's exactly what I want to talk about. The importance of respect in our roles. It's essential in the military for us to support one another, regardless of rank." He scoffed, unwillingly listening as she pressed on. "Leadership isn't just about the title. It's about how we work together as a team. I've worked hard to earn my position, just like you have, and mocking someone's leadership doesn't contribute to that." Suddenly realizing that other soldiers were watching their exchange, Sarah decided to seize the moment. Our unit's strength comes from unity and trust. If we're going to succeed in our missions, we need to support one another instead of undermining each other. For a brief moment, Thompson's expression softened, clearly taken aback by her directness. Sarah seized this opportunity to emphasize her point further. "I believe we'll achieve much more if we foster a positive environment rather than clinging to outdated ideas about leadership and gender." As she concluded, she felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She had finally stood up for herself and conveyed a crucial lesson about respect that extended beyond their individual rivalry. Whether or not Thompson acknowledged it now didn't matter. She had taken a significant step towards fostering a more respectful and unified team moving forward. In the days that followed Sarah's confrontation with Sergeant Thompson, the dynamic within the unit began to shift. There was a palpable sense of change in the air, especially after the team had successfully completed several training drills under Sarah's leadership. She could feel the bond among her soldiers strengthen as they learned to rely on one another more than ever. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low in the sky and the day's exercises wound down, Thompson approached Sarah while she was reviewing some notes. His expression was serious, and she sensed that this was not just another confrontation. "Lieutenant," he began hesitantly, "can we talk?" Sarah looked up, curious. "Of course, Sergeant. What's on your mind?" "I wanted to apologize for my behavior in the past," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of his admission. "I've been acting like a fool, and I realize now how disrespectful I've been. You've proven yourself time and again, and I shouldn't have doubted you." Sarah was taken aback, but sensed sincerity in his tone. "Thank you for saying that, Thompson. It takes a lot to own up to mistakes, and I appreciate it." He continued, "I guess I've been stuck in my own head about what leadership should look like. I see now that it's not just about calling the shots. It's about lifting each other up and working as a team." Sarah nodded, feeling a sense of camaraderie blossoming between them that hadn't existed before. "Exactly. Together we can achieve so much more than we can alone. Let's move forward from here. The conversation marked an unexpected turning point for both of them. As they walked back together towards the barracks, they engaged in light banter, with Thompson suggesting ideas for their next training exercises. For Sarah, it felt like a weight had been lifted, not just from her shoulders, but from the entire team. Over the following weeks, Thompson's attitude shifted as he became more supportive of Sarah's leadership. The newfound camaraderie between them inspired others in the unit to work together with greater respect and trust. Sarah realized that this moment of reconciliation would strengthen their team going forward, reinforcing the importance of mutual support in achieving their common goals. As the weeks progressed, the atmosphere within the unit grew more cohesive and collaborative. Lieutenant Sarah reflected on the recent events that had reshaped their dynamics. The change had come not just from her leadership, but also from the recognition of each soldier's strengths, regardless of their rank. During a team-building exercise one afternoon, Sarah gathered everyone for a debrief after they had successfully navigated a series of tough challenges together. She felt it was essential to highlight how far they had come as a unit. "I want to take this moment to recognize each of you," she began, glancing around at her teammates. "Each of your contributions has been vital to our success. Leadership can take many forms, and it's the collective effort that truly matters." She observed how Thompson, now more supportive and engaged, nodded in agreement. He had started to share his insights and experience with others, helping to guide newer soldiers as they all worked together. Sarah continued, "It's important to value one another's strengths. We all bring different skills to the table, and when we collaborate effectively, there's no limit to what we can achieve." One soldier raised his hand, speaking up hesitantly. "I used to think I could do everything, alone, but I realize now how much I need everyone else." Others chimed in, echoing similar sentiments about teamwork being crucial for growth, both personally and professionally. Seeing her team open up and share their experiences filled Sarah with pride. It was a reminder that leadership wasn't solely about making decisions from a position of authority. It was about fostering an environment where everyone could shine in their own right. As they wrapped up the meeting, Sarah felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. Her team had grown closer through mutual respect and support, proving that true strength lies in unity. The journey they had taken, as individuals and as a team, reinforced Sarah's commitment to leading with compassion and understanding, ensuring everyone felt valued regardless of their rank. It was this newfound camaraderie that would undoubtedly carry them through future challenges. As Sarah continued to lead her unit with renewed confidence and a focus on teamwork, she took time to reflect on her journey. The experiences she'd faced, ranging from the mockery of Sergeant Thompson to the successful navigation of challenges during training exercises, had shaped her into a more resilient leader. Each obstacle had taught her valuable lessons about respect, collaboration, and the importance of valuing every individual's contributions, regardless of rank. One evening, she gathered her team for a discussion about leadership styles. "I want to share something I've learned," she began, looking around at the familiar faces. "Leadership is not just about rank or authority. It's about recognizing and valuing everyone's strengths. We are stronger together." As she spoke, Sarah noticed how engaged her teammates were, nodding in agreement and sharing their own stories about when they had felt supported or overlooked in the past. This exchange was more than just words. It was a testament to how far they had come as a unit. "I used to think being in charge meant having all the answers," Sarah continued. "But I realize now that listening is just as crucial. When we support each other and appreciate what everyone brings to the table, We create an environment where everyone can thrive. Her words resonated deeply with her soldiers. They began to share ideas on how they could continue fostering teamwork in future missions. Thompson chimed in too, reflecting on his earlier behavior and how he had come to understand that leadership meant lifting others up rather than tearing them down. Through this shared dialogue, Sarah inspired not only trust, but also a deeper sense of belonging among her team members. She understood that true leadership lies in empowering others and recognizing their capabilities instead of focusing solely on titles or ranks. As they wrapped up their meeting, Sarah felt grateful for the growth they had achieved together. This experience solidified her belief that effective leaders inspire those around them by creating space for collective success, an invaluable lesson she would carry forward as they faced future challenges together.